AITA for letting my wife go to the men she claimed wanted her? I, a 34-year-old man, never thought I would be writing my life story on Reddit at 2 in the morning on a Tuesday, but here I am. Honestly, I need to get this off my chest, and my therapist says writing everything down might help. And maybe my experience can help other guys avoid the difficult situation I just went through. Anyway, context. I will start from the beginning. I was married to Emily, a 32-year-old woman, for 7 years, together for 10. We met during my junior year of college when she literally bumped into me at the campus coffee shop, spilled her latte all over my programming textbook, and somehow, I was the one who apologized. A cute, classic meet cute that should have been my first red flag. At the time, Emily was this gorgeous psychology major that half the campus wanted to date. Long brown hair, green eyes, always dressed like she stepped straight out of an Instagram post. I still remember my roommate's face when I first brought her back to our apartment. Dude, how did you manage to get her? A real confidence boost. Thanks, man. I have always been a pretty simple guy. I grew up in a working-class family where my dad taught me the value of hard work. I paid for my studies by working in construction during the summers. I sweated like crazy hauling planks and pouring concrete while my classmates were doing easy internships. But it built character and muscle. I am 6 feet 2 inches tall, weigh 210 pounds. And I always found the time to go to the gym even during finals week. I do not want to sound like a show-off, but I can bench press 275 pounds for reps and deadlift 405 pounds. Fitness has always been important to me. After college, I got a job in cybersecurity. I started at the bottom of the ladder and slowly worked my way up. Now, I am a senior network security specialist at a financial technology company in the Denver area. I make a good living. Enough for our 3-bedroom suburban house in the Denver suburbs. The fully loaded Dodge Charger I had always dreamed of that Emily hated. And Emily's endless shopping sprees at Target and Lululemon. The first few years of marriage were good. We traveled, had fun. We were that couple others hated because we seemed so perfect. Emily worked as an administrative assistant in a dental office. She made a decent living, but nothing compared to what I brought in after my last 2 promotions. But that was fine. We were a team. No, looking back now, I can see how things started to change around the 4th year of our marriage. Little things at first. Emily got really into social media, Instagram, TikTok, all that. She started following a bunch of Enneagram accounts. Suddenly, everything became a microaggression or some form of emotional labor. If I did not notice she had changed the throw pillows or got highlights, it meant I was not paying attention to her needs. Meanwhile, I was working 50 to 60-hour weeks. Waking up at 3 in the morning when the network suffered a ransomware attack. I still went to the gym 4 times a week to stay in shape. I mowed the lawn, took care of the car, and fixed everything that broke around the house. But woe was me if I forgot to text her back within 5 minutes when she was out with her friends. Her friends, that was also a problem. At first, Emily had this normal, nice little group of college girlfriends, with jobs and relationships. But over the last 2 years, they were all replaced by a new crew from her fitness class. Single women in their late 20s and early 30s who seemed to spend their time complaining about men and hyping each other up to know their worth, which apparently meant demanding royal treatment while offering nothing in return. Her new best friend, Madison, was the worst. Divorced twice before 30. Always telling Emily things like, do not settle for the bare minimum, or he should be grateful to have you. I tried to be cool with her. I even hosted barbecues and game nights. But I could feel their judgment every time I walked into the room. As if being a stable, reliable, hardworking guy was somehow lame and pathetic. The red flags kept popping up, but I ignored them like an idiot. Emily was going out with the girls more and more. Thursday girls' night became Thursday and Saturday girls' night. She would come home at 1 in the morning, ignore my texts asking if she was okay, and then get mad because I was checking up on her. She bought new clothes that were much more revealing than her usual style. She started doing her makeup even just to go to the grocery store. The situation in the bedroom went downhill too. Our intimate moments became much less frequent, going from several times a week to maybe once every couple of weeks. Always with her acting like she was doing me a favor. I am tired. I have a headache. I have to get up early. I heard every excuse in the book, but strangely, she had plenty of energy for her 6 in the morning fitness class. And yet, I still tried to be the good husband. I planned romantic dinners that she would cancel at the last minute. I bought her gifts that she returned without even telling me. I listened to her complain about her workplace drama for hours while she scrolled on her phone every time I talked about my day. Typical spoiled behavior, but I was too busy playing my part to see it clearly. Everything blew up about 2 months ago, and that is where the story really begins. I had just finished an exhausting 14-hour day dealing with a major security breach at work. Some script kiddie had found a 0-day flaw in our firewall, and my team and I had worked non-stop to patch the vulnerability and make sure no sensitive data had been compromised. My eyes were burning from staring at screens all day. My back was stiff, and I had a splitting headache from the stress. All I wanted was to go home, grab a bite to eat, and crash. I texted Emily around 8 in the evening to tell her I was finally heading home. No answer, which was nothing unusual lately. I figured she was out with her friends again. It was Thursday, after all, Sacred Girls' Night. I got home around 8:45 in the evening. I heated up some chicken and rice, ate standing at the kitchen counter. Then I collapsed on the couch. I must have fallen asleep instantly because the next thing I know, the front door slammed and Emily was storming through the living room at 11:30 at night. Seriously, Kyle? Really? She threw her purse on the coffee table hard enough to knock over my glass of water. I have been texting you for the last hour. I sat up, groggy and disoriented. I pulled out my phone. 3 messages from her in the last 45 minutes. The last one said, "Hello. Are you ignoring me? Sorry. I fell asleep. I have been up since 4 in the morning because of the security breach I told you about," I explained, rubbing my eyes. She rolled her eyes so hard I thought they were going to get stuck. Of course. Work is always more important than me. You cannot even check your phone when your wife needs you. I took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. What is wrong, Emily? Is everything okay? No, everything is not okay. She was pacing around, gesturing as if she were rallying a crowd. My car is making that weird noise again, and Madison had to drive me home. I texted you to come pick me up, but apparently that was too much to ask. The car that I had specifically asked her to take to the mechanic 3 days earlier when she first mentioned the noise. I had even made the appointment for her, which she had skipped because she did not have time. I am sorry about your car. I will take a look at it tomorrow, I said, trying to de-escalate the situation. I am exhausted. Can we talk about this tomorrow morning? That was when she truly exploded. Exhausted? You are exhausted? What about me? Kyle, do you have any idea what it is like being married to someone who is never really present? Who prioritizes his job over his marriage? Who cannot even be bothered to answer a simple text? I stood up then, feeling my patience crumble. Emily, I was literally stopping our company from losing millions of dollars and potentially having our clients' financial data stolen. I am sorry I did not drop everything because you ignored the car issue I tried to fix earlier this week. She stepped closer, her face red with anger. This is not just about the car. It is about the fact that you are never there for me, that you have checked out of this marriage. I almost laughed at the irony. I had checked out? That was rich coming from someone who was hardly ever home for the past 6 months, who spent more time with her friends than with her husband, who could not even put down Instagram long enough to have a real conversation. That is when she said it, the words that would end our marriage. Maybe I would not need to spend so much time away if you actually fulfilled my needs. Her voice was cold, calculating. There are plenty of men who would want me, men who would pay attention to me, who would appreciate what they have instead of taking it for granted. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. We had argued plenty of times before, but this was different. There was something in her voice, a certainty. She was not just saying it to be hurtful. She meant it. I could feel my heart racing, and in that moment, something inside me flipped like a switch being hit. I looked at the woman standing in front of me. Designer clothes, flawless makeup even at midnight, arrogant attitude. And I realized she was no longer the person I had married. Or maybe she was, and I had just been too blind to see it. I do not care about those other men, I said in a calm, low voice. But maybe you should go see if they will put up with your spoiled attitude. Her eyes widened. She was not expecting that. She was used to me apologizing, caving in, trying to smooth things over. Not this time. The tension in the living room was suffocating. Emily's expression wavered between shock, anger, and something else. Fear. Not physical fear, no. But the fear of someone who suddenly realizes they have made a massive miscalculation. "Excuse me," she finally articulated, her voice rising an octave. "My spoiled attitude? You think that is what this is?" I did not take the bait. Years of corporate negotiations had taught me when to speak and when to stay quiet. I just looked at her. "Oh, I know you do not care," she continued, crossing her arms with an offended look. "Maybe that is the problem. Maybe you would finally start doing things right if you actually cared. Maybe you would be the man I thought I married." And there it was, the classic tactic, questioning my manhood, my identity, my role as a husband to make me flinch. It would have worked 6 months ago. In fact, it had worked for years, but not tonight. I felt like I was seeing things clearly for the first time in a long while. I looked at her, really looked at her. The makeup applied too heavily for a simple night out with friends. The outfit a bit too revealing for a restaurant. The perfectly styled hair curls. The subtle perfume I did not recognize. So many little details that had never really clicked until now. But instead of feeling anger or sadness, I felt something unexpected. Relief. As if I had been carrying a 200-pound weight for years and I could finally set it down. "You know what, Emily? You are right." My voice was calm, almost detached. "I do not care. I do not care anymore. I spent years caring, trying, killing myself. Providing everything you wanted, and it was never enough." She blinked, unsettled by my response. "What do you mean?" "I mean I am done." I grabbed my keys from the counter. "I am not playing this game anymore. You want to go find those other men who supposedly want you? Fine. I am not going to stop you. You are just going to leave just like that?" Panic was starting to show. "Yes, Emily, just like that." I grabbed my jacket. "I will come back for my things tomorrow." "Where are you going to go?" she asked, following me to the door. I turned around one last time. "That is not your problem anymore." No theatrical exit, no slammed doors, no yelling. I just walked out, got into my Dodge Charger. The one thing I had bought for myself that she had always judged as too flashy, too immature. And I drove off into the night. As the suburban streets gave way to the highway, a strange sense of peace washed over me. This was not how I had pictured the end of my marriage. Not that I ever really pictured it ending at all. But now that it was done, it felt almost inevitable. Like we had been on a collision course for years and had finally reached the point of impact. I checked into a hotel near my office. Nothing fancy, just a clean place with a good bed. I thought I would spend the night dwelling on the argument, questioning my decision. Instead, I slept better than I had in months. The next day, I spent the day in a strange state of calm and productivity. I went to work. I solved 2 complex security issues that had been stumping me for weeks. I got a workout in at the hotel gym during my lunch break. My coworkers noticed I looked different, more focused, more confident. Emily had sent me several texts. "Are you really not coming home? You are being ridiculous. Call me." "Fine, have it your way. I do not care." Classic manipulation tactics. I did not reply to any of them. After work, I decided to grab dinner at a sports bar near the office. A place where a few of us IT guys hang out sometimes. Nothing special, good burgers and televisions everywhere showing games. I did not really want company, so I sat at the bar instead of in the main dining area. I was halfway through eating my burger when someone sat down 2 stools away. I glanced over and felt a click of recognition. I could not place him right away, but I knew I had seen him before. He ordered a soda, then looked at me and did a double take. "Are you Emily's husband?" "No." I tensed up immediately. Who was asking? "Trevor. I work at Summit CrossFit." Then I recognized him. One of the coaches at the gym where Emily went religiously for the past 6 months, claiming it was fulfilling and the only thing keeping her sane. $200 a month for the elite membership she absolutely demanded. So what? I kept my voice neutral, even though my mind was racing. Trevor seemed uncomfortable but determined. He moved 1 seat closer and lowered his voice. "Look, man, I have seen you drop her off, pick her up. You seem like a good guy, and there is something you need to know." My hand tightened around my water glass. "I am listening." "She is telling everyone at the gym that she is planning to leave you. She says you are emotionally unavailable and cannot handle a strong woman. that she is just waiting for the right time to break it off. I did not react outwardly, but my mind was spinning at 100 miles an hour. Since when has she been saying this? About 3 months. Right around the time she started having extra sessions with Cody. Cody. Trevor's expression told me everything without a word. Head coach, former college athlete, loudmouth, reputation for chasing married women. They spend time together after classes, not just at the gym, if you know what I mean. And then, everything clicked into place. The late nights, the new outfits I had never seen her wear, this sudden passion for fitness, the coldness toward me. Why are you telling me this? Trevor shrugged. Because Cody did the same thing to my sister last year. He destroyed her marriage. Then moved on 2 months later when he found another target. That is his thing. He likes pursuing married women. Then he gets bored. And like I said, you seem like a good guy. Thank you. I pulled out a $20 bill to pay for my meal. No problem. Man. And she does not know I talked to you. I would like to keep it that way. I need this job. I nodded. This conversation never happened. Driving back to the hotel, my mind was surprisingly clear. I should have been devastated, furious, betrayed, and part of me was. But mostly, I felt validated. All those doubts, all those inconsistencies, it all made sense. What surprised me the most was the lack of jealousy. I did not care that she had been involved with someone else. I cared that she had lied to me for months. That she had made me believe I was the problem when she was the one breaking our trust. But deeper than that, a new emotion was taking over, determination. I was not going to be the victim in this story. Not anymore. I did not confront her right away. That would have been amateurish. No, I went into tactical mode. First, I sent her a text. I need more time to think. I am staying at a friend's place for a while. Her response was telling. Whatever. Take all the time you want. No, please come home. No, I miss you. Not even an "are you okay?" Just annoyed indifference. Next, I opened my laptop and got to work. I am a cybersecurity specialist for a reason. I know the science of digital forensics, but I did not even need my skills at first. Emily and I had a shared cloud account for family photos and documents. I logged in and saw that her phone's auto backup was still active. I found dozens of selfies she had never sent me, photos and workout gear, poses that seemed more than just to show off her fitness progress. Some taken in places I did not recognize, hotel rooms, obviously. Then I checked our family phone plan. Dozens of long calls to an unknown number, always during her gym hours or when I was at work. But the real goldmine was the message backup. Emily was not tech-savvy enough to realize that even deleted messages could be recovered from the cloud archives if you knew how to do it. And I knew how to do it. I found hundreds of messages between her and Cody dating back almost 4 months. A few excerpts. Emily, he does not suspect a thing. He thinks I am at spin class. Too bad for him. Cody, are you coming today? Emily, as soon as he leaves for work. I can stay until 3 in the afternoon this time. Emily, I told him I am going to a conference next weekend. Cody, perfect. Cabin booked. Bring the special outfit. Emily, he asked me why I was distant. I almost felt bad for a second. Cody, do not feel guilty. He does not give you what you need. I do. Emily, when should I do it? Still wait for bonus season? Cody, of course, take the money then drop the news. The messages then revealed the depth of their inappropriate relationship. I will spare you the specifics, but trust me, it was enough to make me sick. This was not just a passing situation. It was calculated, planned, contemptuous. But I was not just collecting this evidence for my own peace of mind. I had a plan. Next step, finances. I was the primary breadwinner of the household. For years, my paychecks went into our joint account. Emily worked part-time, and her money mostly went toward her grooming, shopping, spas, and Summit CrossFit membership. I discovered she was spending over $500 a month on hotel rooms, expensive dinners, and gifts for Cody with my money. Then I did something smart. I called my buddy Brian. We had been friends since college. He had become one of the best divorce lawyers in the city. After telling him everything, he simply told me, "Brace yourself, it is going to get messy, but I will make sure you come out on top." Brian advised me to document absolutely everything, the texts, the bank statements, the timeline. He also suggested I install cameras in my house. Not in private areas. That would be illegal. But in common areas, yes. And Colorado is a one-party consent state. If she admits to the infidelity or brings Cody to the house, it is the jackpot. So I installed discrete cameras in the living room and kitchen while she was at yoga, meaning at Cody's, according to her messages with Madison. Then, I moved a large chunk of our savings into an account of my own legally, without completely draining the joint account. Keep paying the bills, do not change anything, do not panic, Brian had told me. Be calm, be normal, stay in control. So, I played the game for 2 weeks. I told her I needed time to think. She almost seemed relieved. Meanwhile, I trained with newfound intensity. Gym at 5 in the morning, every morning, mental and physical grind. I put on 15 pounds of muscle, lost fat, regained my focus. Not out of vanity, but out of strategy. Finally, after 15 days of preparing every single detail, I sent Emily a text. I am coming home tomorrow. We need to talk. Her reply was immediate. Yes, I have something to tell you too. I bet she had a lot to say. As for me, I barely slept the night before our confrontation. Not out of anxiety, but anticipation. For the first time in years, I felt like I was taking back control of my life. I spent the morning reviewing the plan with Brian. We went over every possible scenario, every argument she might make, every tactic she could use. Remember, he told me, she does not know what you know. That is your advantage. Let her talk. Let her paint herself into a corner before you show your cards. At exactly 6 in the evening, I parked in our driveway. Emily's car was there, along with another one I did not recognize. Interesting. I did not expect her to have company for this conversation, but it did not change my plan. I walked in and found Emily sitting at the kitchen table with another woman, Madison, her toxic best friend. They both had a glass of wine in front of them and stiffened when they saw me. Kyle, Emily began in a measured voice, almost rehearsed. I am glad you are here. I asked Madison to be here for moral support. For both of us, she added without much conviction. Madison gave me a cold smile. Hey, Kay. I nodded without going any further. Instead, I set my phone on the table, kept my jacket on, and remained standing. Power stance. Do not yield control of the room. You said we needed to talk, I said calmly. Emily exchanged a look with Madison, then turned to me with what she must have thought was a compassionate expression. Kyle, I have done a lot of thinking while you were gone. I let her talk, let her spin her web. She went on about how she had done some work on herself, how she realized we had grown in different directions, that we wanted different things, and that she deserved to be happy. Not once did she speak of accountability. Not once did she acknowledge her betrayal. It was entirely focused on my shortcomings. I was not meeting her emotional needs. I prioritized work. I had neglected her. Madison nodded periodically, letting out little sounds of support. The perfect choir for Emily's victim narrative. When Emily finally finished, she looked at me, waiting for me to either defend myself or break down. Instead, I did something that caught them both off guard. I smiled. Are you done? I asked, still as calm as ever. Emily blinked, unsettled by my reaction. Oh yes, I think we should separate, Kyle. It is for the best. I completely agree, I replied. But before we go any further, I think you should know that I know about Cody. The color drained from her face so fast, it was almost comical. Madison's eyes widened. What? Emily stammered. I turned my phone around to show them the messages I had recovered. Your Summit CrossFit coach. The one you have been involved with for 4 months. The one you have been spending my money on. The one you were with last weekend while you pretended to be at a work conference. Madison immediately went on the offensive. You were spying on her. You were snooping through her phone. That is abusive behavior, Kyle. I turned to Madison, still perfectly calm. I never touched her phone. These messages come from our shared cloud account. The one I pay for. The one that automatically backs up her messages. The one she thought she had deleted. Emily immediately switched strategies. Tears sprang up as if on cue. It is not what you think. He took advantage of me when I was vulnerable. I was lonely, Kyle. You were always at work. Stop. I cut in, still composed. I have already spoken to Brian Johnson to start the divorce proceedings. I know about the hotel rooms. The gifts, your plans to wait for my year-end bonus before leaving. Her face changed once again. The fake tears evaporated instantly. Her expression grew hard. You think you were smart? Fine. I was going to try to be fair, but if you want to play hardball. Perfect. I am going to take everything you have. Alimony, the house, your precious car. When I am done with you, you will be living in a studio apartment eating instant noodles. I just smiled because that was exactly what I had been waiting for. You might want to reconsider that strategy, I said, pressing a button on my phone. The living room television turned on, connected to my phone via Bluetooth. The footage from the living room camera started playing. Emily and Cody on our couch 3 days earlier. You could hear Emily's voice on the recording. Once the divorce is finalized, we sell this house and buy a better one. Kyle pays for everything. It is his fault for being a doormat all these years. Cody's voice followed. He does not suspect a thing. Poor guy. Emily's face went white as a sheet. Beside her, Madison looked like she had seen a ghost. I have hours of this, I added, still calm. You? Bringing another man into our house while I am working to pay the mortgage. You discussing the best way to take advantage of the situation. You planning all this for months. You do not have the right to film me without my consent. That is illegal, she stuttered. Actually, yes, I do. Colorado is a one-party consent state for recordings. And these cameras are in the common areas of a house that I own and reside in. Brian says hi. By the way, he is very eager to show all this to the judge if you decide to fight dirty. Madison stood up abruptly. I should get going. This is between you two. It is crazy how fast moral support disappears when reality walks into the room. I did not try to stop her. She grabbed her purse and practically ran out. Once we were alone, Emily's mask slipped again. No more tears, no more theatrical anger. Just a calculating coldness. What do you want? She asked in a flat voice. A clean break, I replied. You signed the paperwork Brian prepared. You keep your personal belongings and your car. I keep the house, my retirement accounts, and the rest. No alimony, no endless court battles. You walk away, and we never see each other again. And if I refuse, then we do this the hard way. We go to court. I present all this evidence, the texts, the videos, the bank statements showing you used marital funds for your involvement with someone else. Colorado is a no-fault state. Yes, but judges do not take kindly to this level of deception and financial misuse. She stayed quiet for a long time, calculating her options. Then she tried one last angle. She stood up, walked over to me, and her whole demeanor changed. The anger and coldness vanished, replaced by something soft, vulnerable. She placed her hand on my chest, looked at me with those green eyes that once would have been enough to make my knees weak. Kyle, sweetheart, we can work this out. I made a mistake. Cody did not mean anything. It was just physical. I still love you. We can go to therapy, start over. I took her hand and removed it firmly but gently. Save it. Emily, that would have worked on the old me, the one who would have done anything to keep you happy. But he does not exist anymore. She stepped back, her features turning hard again. Fine, I will sign your papers, but only because fighting you is not worth my time. I have better things to do with my life than drag out a divorce with someone I do not love anymore. I nodded, ignoring the contradiction with her. I still love you from 30 seconds earlier. Brian will contact you tomorrow with the paperwork. As I turned to leave, ready to head back to the hotel, she spat venomously. He is better than you. You know, at everything that actually matters. I paused, then turned back to her with genuine compassion, almost. I do not doubt that for now. Good luck, Emily, you are going to need it. 2 days later, she signed the papers without flinching. Brian told me it was the easiest divorce he had ever handled. No hearings, no drama, just signatures on dotted lines and freedom. I let Emily keep her car and her personal items. She did not contest the house or my retirement accounts. She knew she had no leverage. The day she moved out, I did not even show up. I just asked a friend to be there to make sure she did not take anything that did not belong to her. According to him, Cody showed up with his pickup truck to help her move, looking very pleased with himself. I could not have cared less. I spent that day hiking in the mountains, breathing the fresh air, feeling lighter with every step. It was over. I was free. The best part is what came after. About a month after the divorce was finalized, I was at the gym, a new one, not Summit CrossFit, when I received a text from an unknown number. Kyle, it is me. Can we please talk? I almost blocked the number immediately, but curiosity won out. I replied with one word. Why? The answer came quickly. Cody left me. He said I was too much drama. I have nowhere to go. My parents will not take me in anymore. I lost my job. Can we please just meet and talk? It turned out Cody had already moved on to his new target, a 28-year-old yoga instructor married to a wealthy man. Emily had quit her job at the dental office to focus on fitness, Cody's idea apparently, and therefore had no more income. She had rented an overpriced apartment she could not afford alone. Cody had promised to move in with her, then bailed. Her toxic friends had abandoned her as soon as she was no longer the queen bee with a guy in her life. I did not reply. I just blocked her number and went back to my workout. But it was not over. A week later, she showed up at my house. She did not look at all like the elegant, confident woman I had married. Messy hair, no makeup, shapeless clothes, eyes swollen from crying. Kyle, please, she said when I opened the door. I made a huge mistake. I realize that now. Everything I had, everything that mattered, I threw it away for nothing. What do you want, Emily? I replied without inviting her in. A second chance, she whispered. I will do anything. Therapy, compromises. Whatever you want. I miss you. I miss our life. I miss you. I looked at her for a long time. A tiny part of me, buried deep down, felt some sadness. But mostly, I felt nothing. No anger, no love, no desire for revenge. Just nothing. No, I simply said. What we had does not exist anymore. You destroyed it. I have moved on, and you need to do the same. But I have nowhere to go, she sobbed. I am getting evicted. My cards are maxed out. My parents will only help me if I move back to Ohio. Please, Kyle, I am begging you. I shrugged slightly. That is not my problem anymore, Emily. You made your choices. Now you have to live with them. I closed the doors softly but firmly. Through the window, I saw her stand there for several minutes, her shoulders shaking with sobs, before she slowly walked back to her car. That was the last time I saw her. I heard through mutual friends that she did indeed move back in with her parents in Ohio. She deleted all her social media, disappearing from the world she had built for herself here. It has been 6 months now. The house is peaceful. I got promoted at work. All that energy I was no longer wasting on emotional chaos made my work even better. I am in the best shape of my life at 34. I started dating casually over the last month. Nothing serious, just the pleasure of meeting people who actually appreciate a stable, responsible, and grounded man. Sometimes, I think back to how close I was to becoming a bitter divorce cliché. Paying alimony to a cheating ex, wondering where I went wrong. But I trusted my gut. I stood my ground and refused to be manipulated. I am not saying I am completely healed. There are moments late at night, often, where I think about the good memories and feel a slight pang of nostalgia. 10 years of life do not just get erased with a snap of your fingers, and a betrayal like that leaves scars. But mostly, I feel grateful. Grateful to have uncovered the truth in time. To have had the skills and resources to protect myself. Grateful to have friends like Brian. Grateful not to have wasted any more years with someone who did not value me. If you like the stories, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.